Hello, everyone. My name is Kunle. I am a registered social worker and psychotherapist. Thank you for showing up here. So, today I just want to talk about something really important, and the topic is how do you find the right therapist for you? I know therapy is a topic that maybe a lot of people might not be so much into, but in case you're thinking of trying therapy for the first time and you're trying to figure out how do I find the right therapist, what step do I take, you can listen to this video and pick up one or two things that you could use to help you find the right therapist. So, talking about therapy, first, why therapy? Therapy is really important to cater to our mental health. Oftentimes, we attend to other medical needs, but we leave out attending to our mental health needs. So, it is good to actually go to therapy to help find support to cater to your mental health. So, whether you've been to therapy before, whether this is your first time, whether this is even the first time you're hearing this word, welcome. We're going to talk about it. Mental health really is an important part of our overall health. So, we should choose not to ignore our mental health need. And in order to find a right therapist that you can work with, there are some things you need to pay attention to. First, I would recommend maybe you start right now. You want to find a therapist before you experience a crisis situation or you're experiencing some challenging situations in your life. So when things are actually going good, that's the right time to find a therapist. And why do I say so? Because when things are good, you're not in crisis, you're not in a hurry. Usually, when we're in a crisis and we need help immediately, we just go with the first person we find. Maybe the first person you see, the first person someone recommends because you're desperate. And that's why I do recommend that you need to find a therapist before you experience any challenging or desperate situation so that you can adequately assess your therapist, you can adequately ask them questions, and you can adequately find out to see if you're a good fit. So some of those things we're going to be checking today. So first thing to note, get a therapist right now before any challenges or major issues happen to you. It's also important to ask whether this therapist is registered. Are they registered? Do they have a license? Oftentimes people get hung on whether they have a PhD. Maybe we shouldn't worry too much about that, but most important, it is good to understand in the state where you live, in the province where you are, and your country, these therapists you're talking to, are they licensed to practice the art of psychotherapy? You want to find that out, so that's good. And then for therapy, I like to say even finding a therapist, it's almost like wine tasting or test driving in some way. Like you're going to buy a car, you go test drive multiple cars. So it is similar to that with therapists also. Most therapists offer free consultation. It could be 15 minutes free consultation, 20 minutes free consultation. You can take advantage of that. You could sign up with multiple therapists, get to attend their free consultations, ask them questions, get insight from what they say, and that could help you assess if they're a good fit for you. And when you're going for these free consultations, what kind of questions do you have to ask them? You can ask them any questions that comes to mind. You can ask them about how much they charge. You can ask them about their background. You can ask about the modalities, the tools that they use in therapy, or ask them what does it look like with people that they're working with. What you can ask them even what makes them to choose this profession. So it's almost like an interview. Interview your therapist. Ask them questions the same way they also will be asking you questions to find out what brings you into therapy. So please don't be shy. Don't hold back. Feel free to ask your therapist question and understand if you're a good match. So interview your therapist. And in this interview, in this consultation, there's no need to go deep into maybe some of the things that brings you into therapy. You can give them maybe highlights, so some major instances of situations you're experiencing or goals that you're hoping to accomplish with therapy, but no need to go deep because it's just short time, 15 minutes or 20 minutes. But yes, you can also use that time to ask them some questions of things that are important to you. And as you're asking them these questions, you want to find out, how do I feel? Do I feel connected to this person? Do I feel free? So for therapy to work, there is need for us to be vulnerable. There is need for us to open up about situations, experiences we've had. So you want to make sure you feel comfortable with this therapist that, okay, I can trust them to an extent. I can open up. I can feel vulnerable with this person. So you want to find that sense of vulnerability, comfort, somebody you can trust in some way. Also, you want a therapist who is going to challenge you a little bit. Comfort, but also challenge you. You don't want a therapist who just says yes, yes, yes all the time. Everything you say is perfect. You don't want your therapist. Yes, as therapists, we do provide support. We do provide encouragement when it's needed. But also, there are situations where a therapist needs to challenge you, needs to ask you questions, needs to probe a little bit, needs to dig further, needs to reflect, help you understand maybe underlying causes of certain behaviors, to understand their motive and see how we can address those things. So you don't want a therapist who is just a people pleaser, who will do whatever you say and would never bring up ideas or suggestions or ask you some deep questions that makes you think. So you want comfort, but also you want someone who's gonna do the needed work. These are things you need to watch out for. And also, I want to add here that there are lots of great therapists, and not all therapists accept insurance. If insurance is a deal breaker for you, you can see, depending on what you want to get out of therapy. But also, I know a lot of amazing therapists who do not do direct billing, but they do issue receipts, and you can use that receipt to claim back your insurance benefit. But now, especially this year, I'm beginning to see more therapists jump on the direct billing. So if that's a big issue, you can figure that out to make sure you find a good therapist and then wait with the insurance billing. But if your therapists have direct billing, that's even a plus. So you can do that and your insurance can pay for your therapy sessions. I also want to mention that having the right expectation for therapy is a partnership. Therapy is not magic. You have to put in the effort. You have to put in the work. Therapy is work. So you come in, talk about your emotions, talk about experiences, and also it is good if you talk about things in an honest form. Lying to your therapist doesn't help you. You want to be able to put in the work, be committed, show up, and do the work. And finally, be patient. It takes time to resolve a lot of challenges or issues you might be going through. It takes time to work things out in therapy. It takes time to feel comfortable with your therapist. It takes time to build that sense of rapport. So give it time. But after doing all of this, if you still do not feel comfortable with a therapist, maybe you've been working for a while, for some weeks, for some months, and whenever, it could even be years, whenever you feel like it's a time for change, this is something you can have conversation with your therapist. Even your therapist might recommend a new therapist for you. So please don't be shy. Don't feel offended. Some people think maybe you're cheating at a therapist. No, it's what we encourage. You can actually talk to your therapist. I'm thinking of getting this. Is this something you can do? Or is there someone you can recommend? Or to say, oh, this is what we've been able to achieve. But I feel like I want to explore this area more. And I'm not sure if we can do that in this space. Or if there's another space of someone you can recommend. And your therapist should not be offended by that. And they should be able to recommend some people. Or maybe you find a new therapist yourself. That's okay. You can talk about with your therapist. I'll let's take a break for now. I want to try this other person. That should be encouraged. So please feel free to open up, to talk about these things. All these situations are things you can explore in therapy. And remember, you should always have a voice. Your voice should never be taken. Your power should never be taken. As a client, you would always have a say. So you want a therapist who encourages you to actually use your voice, not a therapist who silences you and make you feel like you have to submit to them or do exactly what they say. They can give suggestions, but you make the final call. I hope this video has been helpful to give you some pointers on how to get a therapist that's right for you. And looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.